Welcome back to Sip and Talk.
Hey, everyone.
We are diving into some pretty heavy stuff today. History, politics, and a whole lot of military hardware.
Yeah, it all kicked off with that massive military parade in Beijing, right? September 3rd, 2025.
Exactly. Marking 80 years since Japan surrendered in World War II. My social feeds were just full of it. But it wasn't just, marching bands.
No, not at all. It was a huge statement. I mean, you had the president reviewing, over 12,000 soldiers?
Yeah, and the J-20 stealth fighters flying over, that definitely sends a message.
But the real headline grabber, I think, was the DF-17, the hypersonic missile.
Right. That thing's got a range of, around 2,500 kilometers?
Something like that, yeah. So this isn't just about remembering history. It feels like a modern warning shot.
And that kind of display, that sheer power, it forces you to ask the big question, doesn't it? About legitimacy. This event, it just completely reignited the whole history war. Like, if we say China won WWII, who are we actually talking about?
Yeah, was it the nationalists, the Republic of China, the ROC, or the communists, the PRC?
That's the tangle we're trying to unpack today.
Exactly.
Right?
It's so complex because, look, both sides were involved, deeply involved, and suffered immensely. But their claims to being the main victor, they just don't fit together.
So our goal here is to lay out both sides of the story, look at the facts as they're generally understood, and figure out why this fight over memory is so intense right now.
Especially with everything else going on geopolitically.
Okay, so let's start with that parade, the modern spectacle. What message was the current government, the PRC, really trying to send?
Well, beyond just the size of it all, the guest list was really telling.
Oh, yeah.
You had about 26 leaders there, mostly non-Western. Putin was there, Kim Jong-un.
Right.
But most Western leaders, nope. A very noticeable absence. It really highlighted the geopolitical divides we see today. It felt like a parade for a specific audience.
And it must have cost an absolute fortune.
Oh, huge. Estimates were in the tens of billions of RMB. And that cost became a massive controversy online, especially the timing.
What about the timing?
Well, that same month, the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index, dipped below 50. It was 49.8.
So below 50 means contraction.
Exactly. It signals the economy is slowing down. So spending that much on a military show when the economy is looking shaky, that's a deliberate choice. A calculated risk, maybe?
That contrast is pretty stark. But the sharpest reaction must have come from Taiwan.
Oh, absolutely. They didn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
Their official statement called the whole thing fascism disguised as nationalism.
Oof.
Yeah. Basically accusing the CCP, the communists, of just rewriting history to prop up their own power today.
Which is kind of the perfect lead-in, isn't it? To understand the rewrite, we got to look at what they're rewriting.
Let's talk about the KMT claim first, the nationalists who are now in Taiwan.
Okay, so we need to rewind back to, 1937?
Yep. From 1937 right through to 1945, the government everyone recognized internationally, the legal government of China, was the national government.
Yeah.
The ROC, led by Chiang Kai-shek and the KMT.
And they were the ones doing the bulk of the conventional fighting.
Absolutely. If you look at the frontal battlefield, as historians call it, the KMT nationalists carried an enormous weight.
So facing the main Japanese armies, tanks, big infantry pushes, that kind of thing.
Exactly. The KMT army was involved in 22 major campaigns. We're talking massive, brutal battles, like Shanghai in 37, defending Wuhan in 38, the Changsha battles that went on for years.
And those battles were crucial, right, for tying down Japanese forces.
Hugely important. They bogged down the Japanese war machine, bought precious time, not just for China, but arguably for the Allied effort globally.
And the cost, the human cost for the KMT must have been astronomical.
It was staggering. The KMT military casualties are estimated around 3.2 million.
3.2 million.
Including over 200 generals killed in action. That's why many international scholars, when they look at it, tend to agree that KMT faced over 90% of the pressure from the main Japanese forces. They really did bleed for the country.
And they had the international recognition, too, which the communists just didn't have at the time.
That's a key point. The ROC was a legitimate member of the Allies. They received Lend-Lease aid from the U.S.
Right.
And Chiang Kai-shek himself met with Roosevelt and Churchill. The Cairo Conference in 1943.
Yeah, that confirmed China's status after the war.
Exactly. As a major power, a founding member of the UN. So their victory wasn't just fought for on the ground. It was recognized in the highest diplomatic circles.
Okay, so the KMT nationalist case seems really strong. Recognized government, took most of the casualties, fought the major battles, got the international nod.
It's a powerful claim.
But here's a thought. Did those huge KMT losses, heroic as they were, inadvertently help the communists by drawing Japanese attention away from the CCP's rural areas?
And that's exactly where the other narrative, the PRC narrative, really kicks in. It shifts the whole idea of what winning looked like.
Right. Because the Communist Party's approach under Mao was totally different. No frontal assaults for the most part.
No. Their strategy was all about guerrilla warfare and building up these rural base areas. Yannan's the most famous one. They weren't trying to win headlines day to day. They were playing the long game, building for the future.
And their focus wasn't just military, it was political, social.
Deeply social. That's what's fascinating. They pushed things like land reform, reducing rents for peasants.
Which must have won them huge support among ordinary people.
Massive support. It wasn't just about ideology, it was practical. It built their base, supplied recruits. Think about this. Their army grew from maybe 45,000 troops in 1937 to an estimated 1.2 million by 1945 when the war ended.
Wow. From 45,000 to over 1 million.
That incredible expansion is absolutely central to the CCP's claim to victory. It gave them the manpower they needed for the civil war everyone knew was coming next.
But they did fight the Japanese too, right? It wasn't all just base building.
Oh, definitely. They point to significant military actions. The most well-known is probably the 100 Regiment's offensive in 1940.
Right, I've heard of that. What did it involve?
It was a big push by the 8th Route Army. They went after Japanese infrastructure behind the lines, railways, bridges, stuff like that, caused significant disruption, inflicted maybe tens of thousands of casualties on the Japanese. It showed they could hit back effectively.
But that offensive is also part of the controversy, isn't it?
It is, because this is where you get into that alleged strategy attributed to Mao. Have you heard the 7 parts development, 2 parts KMT, 1 part Japan idea?
Yeah, the idea that fighting Japan was actually the lowest priority.
That's the criticism, that the CCP was primarily focused on expanding its own power and saving its strength to fight the KMT after the Japanese were defeated, prioritizing the future civil war over the current anti-Japanese war.
Which just highlights how fragile that second united front between the KMT and CCP really was.
It was barely functional at times, full of suspicion. I mean, you even had incidents like the New Fourth Army incident in 1941.
Where KMT forces actually attacked a CCP unit.
Exactly. So alliance is maybe putting it strongly. It was more like a truce, punctuated by conflict.
So the CCP's counter-argument is basically, we fought a smarter war, a people's war, focused on mobilizing the population, building for the future, growing our strength massively, and using guerrilla tactics to bleed the enemy in their rear areas.
That's the core of it. So you end up with these 2 starkly different pictures of the war.
Okay, so picture 1. KT nationalists win the big battles, take the horrific casualties, get the international recognition. They win the conventional war against Japan.
Right.
Picture 2. CCP communists win the political war, the social mobilization, expand their forces exponentially, and position themselves perfectly to take over China after Japan is gone.
That sums it up pretty well. 2 different wars, almost, fought under the umbrella of 1 conflict.
So fast forward to today. Why is Beijing pushing their version, the central pillar narrative, that the CCP was the main force, so incredibly hard right now, like with that 2025 parade?
It's all about political legitimacy, pure and simple. For the CCP today, their claim to rule rests heavily on being the force that saved China, that defeated foreign aggression.
If they weren't the main victors against Japan, their whole founding story looks weaker?
Exactly. So they need to be seen as the indispensable central pillar. That's the term they use, Zhonglidizu. It consolidates their authority.
So it involves a kind of historical editing.
You could say that. The official PRC narrative tends to downplay the KMT's role in those huge frontal battles, and it definitely minimizes their international diplomatic achievements like Cairo.
But instead focuses on the CCP's guerrilla actions and base building.
And their political leadership, presenting it as the key factor.
And this isn't just dusty old history, is it? It ties directly back to that parade in 2025.
Absolutely. Yeah. That parade had a double purpose. 1, mobilize support domestically, show the Chinese people the CCT is strong, protective.
And 2,
signal military power and political resolve externally, especially towards Taiwan.
So the DF-17 missile display wasn't just random tech flexing. It's part of the historical narrative package.
It fits perfectly. It says we were the central pillar then, and look at our strength now. It reinforces that message of power and destiny with Taiwan clearly in mind.
And when Taiwan pushes back, calling it fascism, they're trying to reclaim their historical narrative.
Precisely. They're reminding the world, hey, we were the recognized government. Our representatives accepted Japan's surrender, not the CCP's. It's a fight over who owns the victory.
There's a real irony, too, isn't there? The parade's official theme is often about peaceful development.
Right.
But the main event is showing off the latest, most advanced, and frankly, quite intimidating military hardware.
It's a tension many international observers pointed out, talking peace while showcasing weapons designed for, well, regional influence at the very least.
Right. History is definitely being wielded as a political weapon here. That 2025 parade wasn't just remembering the past, it was projecting power for the present and future, wrapped in the CCP's preferred version of history.
That seems to be the consensus.
Okay, so to boil it down, KMT nationalists shouldered the main conventional war effort and gained international legitimacy, effectively winning the war against Japan. While the CCP communists focused on guerrilla tactics, political mobilization, and massive expansion, setting themselves up to win the subsequent civil war and control China's future.
That distinction seems crucial to understanding the competing claims. Gives us a lot to chew on.
Speaking of things to chew on, before we wrap up, just want to give a quick shout out. Check out our old pal Micky's YouTube channel, Micky to Life.
Oh yeah, Micky.
He seems completely burnt out traveling around Europe. Wow, we can't wait to see what he's actually up to over there.
Yeah, I hope he's getting some rest. But back to our topic, maybe one final thought for everyone listening.
Go for it.
Okay, so if knowledge is power and history is collective memory, what happens when you have two powerful governments pushing two fundamentally different conflicting memories of the same incredibly important war? What does that really mean for stability in the region moving forward, especially when you factor in things like, well, those hypersonic missiles we talked about?
That is definitely the question to keep in the back of your mind when you see these headlines. Thanks for joining us for this Sip and Talk exploration.
Always good talking it through.
Make sure you subscribe to Sip and Talk. We'll catch you next time.